On the 8th day of Christmas, your Mikester gave to me 8 builds a hacking, 7 Gwyn's car slacking, 6 crumbling temples, so much unfairness. 4 bluebirds middling, 3 minute caroling, 2 B2T, and a build battle Christmas winter themed.
Nice!
This is so good!
In the past, I used to be known for creating build hack tutorials. With 1.20 and 1.21 having added new blocks since my last tutorial, there's been quite a few features added. And since it's been so long, I figured let's devote a day to 8 build hacks since my last video. Let's get straight into it. Oh, and world download will be in the description, so if you guys want to check out this map for yourself, make sure to do that. So the very first place my mind went to when thinking of where to go with building was actually Realism. I use this block as a bit of a gradient between deep slate and regular stone, gravel, that sort of thing, and it creates this bit of a scuffy, interesting looking look. Let me give a full view real quick just to show you what this build is, which is just kind of like the sideline of what would be a very tall building, most likely a skyscraper in a city line landscape. Using these copper grates as almost scaffolding combined with acacia trapdoors and other trapdoors, I created this bit of an area right here. I don't think you can actually access the, unless you jump and do parkour, you can access the side walls. I don't know what these things are called. I just called it something I don't remember, scaffolding, something like that. But you can see I also used it for windows because it creates a very cool window effect using glass panes in front of it right here. And then I also used it as this little iron railing, as I've seen a lot of buildings always have these stairways that kind of go down. At least older cities, they have a stairway that goes down right next to the building. I have this copper door, which I didn't actually know, but you can right click these doors and don't need a button to open these, which I thought previously that they had the same effects as like iron doors, so that was really interesting. And then using mud bricks, I think this is 1.20 block, I kind of use this as a drainage pipe, even though it doesn't go all the way to the top, and I don't think buildings have drainage pipes. It was a good way to separate this rather flat face of a building. And then just using some common decorational tools like anvils for sculpture looking items, gradients between the tough and the new tough variants. This is what we ended up with. I was really happy with the way this looked. I honestly wish I could have kept going with building this massive building and made it like an actual skyscraper. But as you can see, World Edit doesn't work on this version because this is still just like a snapshot. It's an experimental version. Continuing down the thought of realism, I created this bridge. I've seen tons of pictures and real life bridges with this very coppery, rusty green texture to it. And with the new trapdoors and this truss looking trapdoor, this looks like an X, like a little truss for an actual bridge. I figured you could build this finally on a smaller scale. In the past, I've always built bridges on a very large scale, just so I could get this very unique X shape, because that is what you see in bridges and structures and stuff like that. But with this 1.21 update, we can actually downscale these to a reasonable size. This is something your little Minecraft character could actually walk across, and it doesn't feel over the top crazy. Although if you're like me, I do like over the top crazy. Underneath, using some glass panes magic and some walls and whatnot, and this tiling right here, this repeating tiling, it looks like I have a very metallic structure underneath, which this block, you'll see later on, is amazing when used for like metallic pieces. I don't know what it is about the dull texture of it, but this block really does look like some piece of metal. So I have a gut feeling it will be used in tons of futuristic and rustic builds as well. After that, I've realized that the mud brick walls actually goes together pretty well with the wax copper texture, which is something I'd never noticed before, and now that I see it, I can't unsee it, and I love it. Prismarine and warped blocks, as usual, work very well with this kind of color of this cyan green format. And then these grates were actually used as really cool, I don't know how to describe them, but these metal pieces that connect the bridges. Yeah, overall, it's a bit of a colorful bridge. It's a little bit on the rusting stages. Usually when you see bridges like this, they're completely green. But I was pretty darn happy with it. I really like the way this turned out. Only thing I would change is this black terracotta. Originally, I had put it here to hide the X shape so that it doesn't look too overwhelming to the eye like that. But I was too lazy to figure out how to fix that, and so this is what I ended up with. I still think it looks cool. So my next one is 1.20 specific thick builds. I know. That 120 has been along for a very long time. But this was something I discovered the other day, and I thought it was really cool. Not this actual build. This is just, honestly, I'm really not happy with the way this little library front turned out. But what I really wanted to show you was this. Look at this interior design. Isn't this design just phenomenal? Look at it. Look at how much effort I put into it. There's definitely, there's, you know, decoration and not hidden messages. This is what I found out. Using flower petals and books in the bookshelves over here, you can actually hide messages. If we look at this right here, you can now see this is an arrow pointing this way and another arrow pointing this way with flower petals. Over here, you've got a bit of a smiley face with the 2 eyes and the little wraparound. And from the ground, it looks like nothing, but it's subliminal messaging. This is my personal favorite right here. This says like, and then if we go over here, you can kind of see in the books, it says subscribe. Make sure to do that. Like and subscribe. But yeah, I honestly think that with this functionality, you can create some really crazy structures. And if you use enough grassland and space, you can create some pretty cool pixel art images, since these are actually tileable blocks. As you can see, placing them down, you can place them in 4 different corners, you can place them in different shapes, and you can basically get every conceivable shape on a 1 block area. Sorry, my voice died there a little bit. And then with these books, you have 6 areas to place in books uniquely in different ways with different colors, and I don't know how to yet, but I have a gut feeling there will be a program at some point that allows you to make pixel art out of structures like this from far away. When you go from a distance, you'll see some sort of pixel art with actual color created on a very small scale, a small and reasonable scale as well. So there weren't really too many build hacks, but more like hidden features that you guys might have not known about if you haven't messed around with these blocks yourself yet. My next build is actually something I need your guys' help with just a little bit. My original thought when I created this was that this was going to be a high wire, messing around with the signs, these spruce hanging signs. This has the perfect texture for a high wire if we're walking on top of this right here. The only thing is I don't know how to get rid of these signs, these parts right here, and I don't know how to hide it in an efficient way. I tried for a very long time. Probably even longer than I should have. But maybe you guys have an idea on what to do with these signs. But I did have a few other signs while messing around. I had a few other ideas while messing around with this. For one, what we can now use this for is actually like parkour kind of functionality where you jump around the corners and try not to fall off like I did right there. I don't know why, but this kind of reminds me of like a tree. You could use these in trees for sure. Another idea I had was where you could actually use this as like a saloon, where you have those 2 little paddles when you walk up to a saloon. The only problem is you can't actually walk through it, which is a bit of a problem. And the final idea that I had was that with these signs, you can actually stack them on top of each other like so. And with this, you can get a bit of a lamppost looking shape. A lamppost or a power line is what I meant to say right there. If we go far away enough, you can see how it starts to become more of a power line grid. The only problem is that these signs do at a certain distance disappear. So I included this mostly just to show you guys how I like to experiment with ideas, but also to ask you guys for help on what ideas you might have on how to implement these features and make this a little bit more successful. Comment down below. My next structure, this guy's name is Greg. I just decided his name is Greg. I don't know why. But with these tough blocks, these have a very Aztec-y and Mayan look to them. Aztec and Mayans, yeah. I really like the textures on this, and when putting this together, I created this weird statue. I didn't know what kind of statue I was going to create at first. And then I added these ears, and it started to look kind of like a weird, deformed elephant. And then with the bamboo fences and the torches, it added more of a jungle vibe. The ground, I just used mud and mud roots and stuff like that. And the dripstone. All of this comes together pretty well to create this really unique looking statue. I wouldn't even say it's a statue. At this point, I would say it's more of like a temple ruins, which is really cool to look at. I like the way it turned out. But I even did a bit of crazy Yo Mikester redstone, and Greg cries. Oh no, Greg, why are you crying? Did you just lose the girl of your dreams, buddy? It's okay. It's okay. His tower also cries to support his crying. What am I saying? In the back, you can see how monstrous the redstone is. A redstone torch tower, random blocks, dispensers. It's kind of disgusting to look at. But I wanted to experiment with redstone, and I did. And I really just wanted to display how this block can be used in combination of like deep slate tiles, this kind of groundscaping, landscaping area. I even used the copper trapdoors in it, and it kind of looks like it got industrialized or something. Like this was an excavation site, but explorers have come around and built up their own contraptions on top of it. So yeah, I really like it. I really like how Greg's eyes also follow you around wherever you go. That's very spooky. Greg, please stop looking at me. Alright, but my next build is the one I'm probably the most excited for. I built this on a pretty small scale just because, once again, World Edit doesn't work and I can't stack this, so I had to build this all by hand. But how many times have you wanted this industrial look where you can build cranes? With the iron base at the bottom, we've got the extension right here. It's not that great. I wish I could have done better. I'll have to redo this at some point. We've got a metal bar with this hook that's holding from these chains. Look at this. This is what I said earlier. This looks perfect with this metal texture. And then being able to see through all the gaps and stuff, you get a much more of a scaffolding feel than you might have with just placing scaffolding down. With scaffolding, there's just a lot more space in between, which I guess is actually how that's meant to be. But with this, you get like a metal mesh going through the structure, and all these different holes and stuff adds to it. I feel like there's so much detail just to this alone, but you could add a lot of different blocks as well. You got red sandstone, you got all the acacia types, you've got different types of orange, terracotta, concrete, and whatnot that could all tie to this perfectly. And then you even have the waxed versions of all the blocks as well, so you could get this a little bit copperized, although typically when you see these in real life, they do have more of an orange hue to them. Sorry, Bamboo, you had to go. But I even made this functional too, so you can actually climb up a ladder in the center of this. And when you get to the top, look at this. There's an area where you can actually walk in and like operate the crane like you're actually operating it yourself. There's a feature over here where we have the counterweight, making sure to weigh this down so that you don't actually tip the machine. And overall, the concept, the idea for what it is, with the building kind of like setbacks that I have right now, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Yeah, industrial revolution right here with this block, 100%. Industrial and steampunk vibes we got going on here. Although, I guess steampunk is kind of industrial to begin with. With all these epic builds, I wanted to give you some actual build hacks as well though, and this is where I started turning these features into more of a steampunk nature. This is the lamp that I created at the very beginning. It's a very, this is actually why I built the structures, because it kind of reminded me of like a lava lamp using these bulbs. I had to check to make sure they're called bulbs. Yeah, using these bulbs right here. With the lightning rods used as like extensions and stuff. This is a really fun build. Over here, I've got a bit of computer system with the looms and stuff. I wanted this to look like, I guess, like computer servers stacked up. I don't know if I did that exactly right. I don't really know what they look like. I just built this off of my memory. And over here, we have a lava machine, and where you can actually turn and switch off these lights on and off, which I didn't even realize that would happen until I pressed that button. And then over here, this is just an ideal example of grates being used as an actual grate. In my next one, you'll see that we did this feature a little bit differently. Same feature, implemented differently. But yeah, I really love this metal look, ochre frog lights, and everything about this. This is just, I could imagine the coolest sci-fi lab with all these orange textures around. You get the white concrete. I really like how the flat world is white concrete right now because it puts it more in the terms of like a laboratory feel. But yeah, these lights are really cool. And another cool thing about these lights too that I don't know if you guys knew about, unless you guys are watching Exumavoid, then in that case you probably will know, because Exumavoid likes to cover all the cool updates and it's always very helpful to watch. But look at this. All of these different lights have different values. I haven't figured out how to implement this yet. I was experimenting with it, but I ran out of time. But look at these different hues of orange. It is so cool looking. The bright all the way down to the least. At some points, it almost kind of looks like they borrowed the shroom-like textures over here. At least the same colors, maybe. Maybe they dimmed it down and desaturated it. But this could even be used in lighting structures up. I know I don't have a dark room around, but this is something definitely worth exploring more. But my final and last build hack is just grates used in a pathway. I'm not gonna lie, I designed this when I was sick, and that might sound like an excuse, and that's because it partially is. My creativity had been drained. It had been a long work week, but I kind of figured, you know, in your paths and structures, driveways, whatnot, sometimes you do have these grates going across in your city roads, whatnot. There's always this kind of like line of grates where you walk over, you get that metal click as you walk over it. So I figured this could be a really cool addition to pathways, just to break them up a little bit, just to give them a bit more life, especially if you're going for a more modern city-like vibe. Also, it was really hard just to think of what to do with these things, because with the amount of holes that's in them, it's it's really, really busy. I'm not gonna lie, when you're looking through this is so busy. So this was the best I had for this block. Hey, at least we get some beautiful flowers and we get to stop and smell the roses. When was the last time you stopped and smelled the roses? But yeah, I like it. I still like it. With the mud, it's just borderline on that same color of the texture, so it kind of blends in. It's a little bit brighter, stands out so you know when you're walking above it. And then I put just black terracotta below to give it a nice warm, like, kind of depth down below. You could definitely use this and actually have a sewer way down below too, and that would look really nice. But I think that was already the 8th day of Christmas, which, what the heck, that seemed really, really fast. Don't worry, I'm gonna make up for it with the next video. But I hope you guys enjoyed these build hacks. Again, if you guys want to download this list, if you guys want to download this world, I will have the world map download. I will have the map download link in the description. Future Mike put that in just to see how much, just to show how much I struggle when doing these videos sometimes. My gosh, my words. It was really fun to design this, and I'm excited about 1.21, especially with the holy grail of items, the auto crafter. I hope you guys enjoyed this Christmas special and are excited for the next one. But with that said, that's all I got for you guys today. Now go away. I'm just kidding. I love you. Merry Christmas, yo ho ho, and enjoy life, enjoy Minecraft. I'll see you in the next one, and ciao.